Pay attention to the silver 2000 and two Honda Accord pulling into the employee parking lot behind Riverside Medical Center, Space 47, underneath the flickering security light. March 22, 2001, 11:43 p.m. The driver's side door opens. The young woman stepping out is 24 years old. Her name is Brianna Washington. She's a nursing assistant working the overnight shift. She pulls her purse over her shoulder, locks the car with a quick chirp, and walks toward the rear entrance where other night shift workers are gathered, smoking cigarettes in the cold. She's tired. She worked a double shift yesterday. Her feet hurt, but she needs the money. Her daughter, Aaliyah, just turned 3, and daycare costs more than Brianna expected. Now, pay attention to the dark blue van idling near the employee entrance. No company logo. Tinted windows. The license plate is partially obscured by mud. The driver doesn't get out, just watches. Brianna waves to her coworker, LaTanya, who's finishing a cigarette. They walk inside together. The metal door closes behind them with a heavy clang. The security camera above the door records the timestamp, 11:47 p.m. Within 8 hours, Brianna Washington will be reported missing. Within 3 days, her Honda will be found in that same parking space. Keys in the ignition, purse on the passenger seat. Within 6 weeks, the case will go cold. This is not a story about a nursing assistant who disappeared after work. This is a story about a drainage problem that wouldn't go away, a mother who refused to believe her daughter ran away, and a city maintenance crew that discovered something they were never supposed to find. Welcome to Missing Uncovered. If this story hits home, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Now, let's begin. September 18th, 2024. 23 years after Brianna Washington vanished. A residential neighborhood on Atlanta's east side has been complaining about the same problem for months. Standing water pooling at the corner of Meadowbrook Drive and 5th Street. The drain keeps backing up. Rain or shine, there's always a puddle. Residents call the city. Nothing gets fixed. They call again. A crew comes out, clears some debris, leaves. 2 weeks later, the water's back. By late summer, the smell is unbearable. Neighbors avoid walking on that side of the street. The puddle has become a small pond. Kids aren't allowed to play near it. Someone posts a complaint on the neighborhood Facebook group with a photo. The post gets shared 47 times. Finally, the city schedules a full inspection. The crew arrives on a Tuesday morning. 3 workers with a city truck, industrial equipment, and a camera scope designed to inspect underground pipes. The foreman's name is Jerome Mitchell. He's worked for Atlanta's Public Works Department for 18 years. He's seen blocked drains caused by tree roots, collapsed pipes, illegal construction debris. He's never seen what he's about to find. They start with the surface, clear the grate, pump out standing water. Then Jerome feeds the camera scope into the drainage pipe. The monitor shows the usual at first: sediment buildup, minor cracks in the concrete lining. Then, about 15 feet down the main line, the camera hits something solid. Jerome stops. Adjust the camera angle. The image on the monitor is unclear at first. Dark. Obstructed. He pushes the camera forward slowly. The object comes into focus. It's fabric. Deteriorated, but unmistakably clothing. And beneath the fabric, partially embedded in decades of sediment and roots, something that makes Jerome's stomach drop. He pulls the camera back immediately, tells his crew to stop working, gets on his radio, and calls his supervisor. Within 20 minutes, Atlanta Police Department is on scene. Within an hour, the entire block is cordoned off with crime scene tape. Within 3 hours, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's forensic team is excavating the drainage system. They find her 32 feet underground, wedged in a junction where 2 main drainage lines converge. The body is severely decomposed, partially mummified by the dry periods between rainfalls, but intact enough for identification. She's wearing navy blue scrubs. A name tag, though faded and barely legible, is still pinned to her chest. It reads, Brianna, Riverside Medical. The medical examiner determines she's been there for at least 2 decades, possibly longer. The cause of death, Blunt force trauma to the skull. Multiple fractures. This was not an accident. This was homicide. Detective Elijah Moore, now leading the cold case unit, gets the call that afternoon. He's been with Atlanta PD for 26 years. He's worked hundreds of cases. But when the forensic team tells him they found a body in a drainage pipe wearing medical scrubs from 2001, he immediately thinks of one name, Brianna Washington. He drives to his office, pulls the case file from archives. It's thin. Disturbingly thin for a missing person case. The initial report was filed March 23, 2001, by Brianna's mother, Carol Washington. The detective assigned at the time was Dennis Hayes, who retired in 2007 and died in 2015. The investigation lasted less than 6 weeks before being classified as a voluntary disappearance. Moore reads through the notes. They paint a familiar, frustrating picture. Young black woman, single mother, working multiple shifts to make ends meet. The original detective's theory was that she got overwhelmed, walked away from her life, started over somewhere new. The case was never treated as an abduction. No Amber Alert. No extensive search. Minimal media coverage. Brianna's Honda had been found in the employee parking lot at Riverside Medical Center, exactly where she'd parked it. Keys in the ignition. Purse on the passenger seat, containing her wallet, ID, and $83 in cash. Her phone was never recovered. Detectives at the time theorized she left it somewhere deliberately, not wanting to be found. Carol Washington told police her daughter would never abandon Aaliyah. Brianna was a devoted mother. She was planning to enroll in nursing school. She had goals, dreams. She wouldn't just disappear. But Carol's pleas were documented and then dismissed. The prevailing theory remained. Brianna ran away. Now, 23 years later, Moore knows the truth. Brianna didn't run away. She was murdered, and her body was dumped in the city's drainage system, where it remained hidden for over 2 decades, while an entire neighborhood complained about a backed-up drain that no one properly investigated. March 22, 2001. Brianna Washington was 24 years old. She lived with her mother Carol and her daughter Aaliyah in a small apartment in East Atlanta. The apartment was cramped but clean. Brianna kept Aaliyah's toys organized in colorful bins. She taped her daughter's crayon drawings to the refrigerator. She worked overnight shifts at Riverside Medical Center as a nursing assistant because the pay was slightly better and her mother could watch Aaliyah while she slept during the day. Brianna had plans. She was saving money for nursing school. She'd applied to 3 programs. She kept the acceptance letters in a folder under her bed. Her first choice was Georgia State University. She'd already been accepted. She just needed to save enough for tuition and childcare during the day. She was quiet, didn't go out much. Her coworkers described her as reliable, kind, always willing to take an extra shift if someone needed coverage. She brought her lunch in a small cooler every night, usually leftovers from whatever Carol cooked for dinner. She drank coffee with 2 sugars and no cream. She had a small scar above her left eyebrow from when she fell off a bike as a child. She hated the smell of vanilla air fresheners. She loved anything grape-flavored. On March 22nd, she kissed Aaliyah goodbye before her daughter went to bed. Carol told investigators later that Brianna seemed normal that night. Not upset, not scared, just tired. She left for work at 11:15 p.m., same as always. She said she'd be home by 8 a.m. She waved from the doorway before heading down the stairs to her car. Carol waved back. She didn't know it would be the last time she'd see her daughter alive. Brianna arrived at Riverside Medical Center at 11:43 p.m. The security camera in the employee parking lot captured her parking in space 47, locking her car, and walking toward the rear entrance. She was wearing navy blue scrubs and white sneakers. Her purse was slung over her shoulder. She appeared relaxed. There was no indication of distress. The camera also captured the dark blue van idling near the entrance. The timestamp shows it arrived approximately 6 minutes before Brianna. It remained in the parking lot for 11 minutes after she entered the building. Then it drove away slowly, disappearing from the camera's view at 11:58 p.m. At 6:47 a.m., on March 23rd, Brianna's supervisor at Riverside Medical called Carol Washington. Brianna hadn't shown up for her shift. She hadn't called. This was unusual. Brianna had never missed a shift without notice. Carol immediately called Brianna's phone. It went straight to voicemail. She called 3 more times. Same result. By 8:30 a.m., Carol was at Riverside Medical Center, demanding to know where her daughter was. Security checked the parking lot. Brianna's Honda was there. Keys in the ignition, purse on the seat, but Brianna was gone. Carol called the police at 9:12 a.m. The officer who took the report asked standard questions. Was Brianna having any problems at home? Financial trouble? Relationship issues? Did she have a history of running away? Carol answered firmly, no, 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 and absolutely not. Brianna was a responsible mother. She wouldn't leave her daughter. Something happened to her. The officer filed the report. Missing person case opened, but the response was slow. No immediate search. No media alert. Just a file number and a promise that detectives would follow up. Detective Dennis Hayes was assigned the case 2 days later. He interviewed Carol, Brianna's co-workers, and a few neighbors. He reviewed the parking lot security footage. He noted the dark blue van but couldn't identify it. No clear view of the license plate. No witnesses who remembered seeing it before. Hayes concluded in his report that Brianna likely left voluntarily. His reasoning: her car was found at her workplace, suggesting she intended to disappear from that location. Her phone was missing, indicating she didn't want to be contacted. She was a young single mother under financial stress. The theory was she got overwhelmed and walked away. Carol fought this narrative. She showed up at the police station every week. She brought photos of Aaliyah, begging detectives to understand that Brianna would never abandon her child. She filed complaint after complaint when no progress was made. After 6 weeks, the case was moved to inactive status. No body, no evidence of foul play. Just a missing woman who, according to official records, probably didn't want to be found. Carol refused to accept this. For 23 years, she searched. She printed missing person flyers and taped them to telephone poles across Atlanta. She joined support groups for families of missing persons. She hired a private investigator in 2003, but he quit after 4 months, saying the trail was too cold. Every year on Brianna's birthday, Carol held a small vigil at Riverside Medical Center. She brought purple balloons, Brianna's favorite color, and stood in the employee parking lot where her daughter's car had been found. Some years, a few co-workers attended. Most years, Carol stood alone. She kept Brianna's bedroom exactly as it had been. The nursing school acceptance letters still in the folder under the bed. The photos of Aaliyah, taped to the mirror. The purple comforter, neatly made. Carol couldn't bring herself to change anything. She told herself that one day, Brianna would come home, and everything would be ready for her. But years passed. Aaliyah grew up. She graduated high school in 2016. Raised by her grandmother who never stopped talking about the mother, Aaliyah barely remembered. Carol aged. Her hair grayed. Her knees ached. She retired from her job at the post office. But the searching never stopped. In 2019, Carol was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. She underwent chemotherapy, lost her hair, lost weight. Friends told her to focus on her health, to let go of the past. She couldn't. The not knowing consumed her. She told her oncologist during one appointment, "I can't die without knowing what happened to my daughter." She survived the cancer, went into remission in 2021, and continued searching. September 2024. Detective Elijah Moore stands at the drainage site on Meadowbrook Drive, watching the forensic team work. They've excavated a section of the main drainage line, exposing the junction where Brianna's body was found. The remains have been removed and transported to the medical examiner's office, but the scene is still active. Investigators are combing through sediment, looking for additional evidence. Moore has a theory. He reviewed the original case file. He studied the parking lot security footage from March 2001. The dark blue van appeared deliberate. It arrived before Brianna, waited, left shortly after she entered the building. Moore believes someone was watching her, possibly stalking her. He also believes the placement of her body in the drainage system was intentional. The junction where she was found is accessible through a maintenance access point. approximately 1 mile from Riverside Medical Center. The access point is located in an industrial area with no residential buildings nearby. At night, especially in 2001 before the area was redeveloped, it would have been deserted. Moore requests all maintenance records for that drainage line from March 2001 onward. What he discovers is infuriating. There were complaints. Multiple complaints. As early as 2002, residents on Meadowbrook Drive reported slow drainage after heavy rains. Work orders were filed. Crews were dispatched. But the inspections were superficial. No one ever scoped the line deep enough to reach the junction where Brianna's body was lodged. In 2007, a resident named Marcus Thompson wrote a formal letter to the city, complaining about standing water and foul odors. He requested a full inspection. The city responded that the issue was due to tree root intrusion and minor sediment buildup. They cleared the surface grate. The problem persisted. In 2014, another work order was filed. This time, the crew noted in their report that there appeared to be a blockage deeper in the system, but accessing it would require excavation and significant cost. The recommendation was tabled. The problem was classified as low priority. For 23 years, Brianna Washington's body remained in that drainage pipe. A blockage. An inconvenience. A problem that city maintenance crews repeatedly failed to properly address. Moore is enraged. He calls the Public Works Department and demands every record, every work order, every inspection report related to that drainage line. He wants to know why no one investigated thoroughly. Why no one questioned what was causing a persistent blockage in a system designed to handle stormwater. The answers he receives are bureaucratic and inadequate. Budget constraints, staffing shortages, prioritization of more critical infrastructure issues, excuses that don't change the fact that a murdered woman was left in a pipe while an entire city went about its business above her. Moore shifts his focus to the original investigation. He tracks down everyone who worked the case in 2001. Detective Dennis Hayes is dead. But the officer who took Carol's initial missing person report, now retired Sergeant Travis Coleman, is still alive. Moore calls him. Coleman remembers the case vaguely. He recalls Carol Washington being distraught, insistent that something terrible had happened to her daughter. But he also remembers that the prevailing theory among detectives was that Brianna had left voluntarily. He admits now that they didn't take it seriously enough. Young black women went missing all the time, he says. Most of them turned up eventually. Or they didn't. And the cases just faded. Moore asks about the dark blue van in the security footage. Coleman doesn't remember it being investigated. He suggests Moore review the evidence log to see if the footage was preserved. It wasn't. The hospital security system in 2001 used VHS tapes that were recorded over every 30 days. The footage of Brianna's last night was never formally requested by police until 6 weeks after she disappeared. By then, it had been taped over. The only reason Moore has any footage now is because a hospital security supervisor in 2001 made an unofficial copy and kept it in his personal files. He turned it over to police in 2003, but by then, Hayes had already classified the case as inactive. Moore watches the grainy footage again. The dark blue van. No visible plates. Tinted windows. It's impossible to identify the driver, but Moore notices something Hayes apparently missed. The van's parking pattern. It's positioned at an angle that gives a clear view of the employee entrance. It's not randomly parked. It's positioned for surveillance. Moore runs the van's description through archived databases. He cross-references missing persons cases from 2000 to 2002. The Atlanta metro area. He's looking for patterns. Other women who disappeared from hospital parking lots. Other cases involving dark vehicles. He finds 2. Both remain unsolved. Both victims were black women in their 20s. Both worked night shifts at medical facilities. Both vanished from employee parking areas. Neither case was ever connected to Brianna's disappearance because Brianna's case was classified as voluntary. Moore requests those case files. He starts building a profile. Someone was targeting young black women who worked overnight shifts at hospitals. Someone with access to their schedules. Someone who understood their routines. The forensic team at the drainage site makes a discovery. Buried in the sediment near Brianna's remains, they find a small metal object. It's corroded, barely recognizable. But under microscopic examination, it's identified as a key fob, the kind used for keyless entry systems in vehicles. The fob is sent to the lab for further analysis. 3 days later, Moore gets a call. The forensic team was able to extract partial data from the fob's internal chip. The make and model information is still retrievable. It's a 1,999 Dodge Ram van. Moore runs a search. In March 2001, there were over 300 Dodge Ram vans registered in the Atlanta metro area, but only 17 were dark blue. Of those 17, 3 were registered to individuals with criminal records. One name stands out: Vincent Caldwell, age 41, in 2001, registered owner of a 1,999 dark blue Dodge Ram van. Arrested twice for stalking in the 1,990. Charges dropped both times due to insufficient evidence. Worked as a security contractor for several businesses in the Atlanta area, including 2 medical facilities. Moore digs deeper. Caldwell's employment records show he was contracted to install security cameras at Riverside Medical Center in late 2000. He had access to the building. He knew the layout. He knew where the cameras were positioned and where their blind spots were. Moore searches for Caldwell's current whereabouts. He finds nothing. Caldwell disappeared from public records in 2003. No tax returns filed after that year. No address on record. No vehicle registrations. It's as if he vanished. Moore expands the search. He contacts the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They run Caldwell's name through national databases. What they find is disturbing. Vincent Caldwell died in 2011 in a single vehicle accident in rural Tennessee. He was living under an alias at the time, Victor Caldwell. The Tennessee State Police investigated the accident and concluded it was caused by driver error. Caldwell's truck went off a mountain road during a rainstorm. He was killed instantly. The case was closed. But when GBI reviews the Tennessee police report, they notice something. Caldwell's truck was searched post-accident as part of standard procedure. Inside, police found a duffel bag containing women's clothing, identification cards, and photographs. The Tennessee police logged these items as evidence but never investigated further because Caldwell was deceased and there was no active missing person case linked to him. GBI requests that evidence be sent to Atlanta for analysis. 2 weeks later, Moore receives a box. Inside are 8 driver's licenses belonging to different women. Brianna Washington's license is among them. Also in the box, photographs, dozens of them. Surveillance photos, taken from a distance. Women entering and exiting buildings. Women walking to their cars. Women alone. The photos are dated, spanning from 1998 to 2002. Moore lays them out on his desk. He recognizes 2 of the women immediately. They're the other missing persons cases he'd flagged. Angela Morris, missing since 2000. Monique Hayes, missing since 2002. Both cases remain unsolved. Both women work night shifts at medical facilities. Both were last seen in employee parking lots. Moore now has evidence linking Vincent Caldwell to at least 3 murders, possibly more. He contacts the families of Angela Morris and Monique Hayes. He tells them their loved ones' cases are being reopened. He explains what he's found. He can't promise closure, but he can promise the truth. Carol Washington receives a phone call on September 25th, 2024. It's Detective Moore. He asks if he can come to her home. He needs to speak with her in person. Carol knows immediately what this means. After 23 years of searching, someone finally found Brianna. Moore arrives that evening. He sits across from Carol in the small living room where Brianna once played with Aaliyah as a toddler. He tells Carol everything. The drainage pipe, the remains, the medical examiner's confirmation, the DNA match. It's Brianna. She's been found. Carol doesn't cry. Not at first. She sits very still, her hands folded in her lap. She stares at the photo of Brianna on the wall. The photo taken at Aaliyah's second birthday party. Brianna smiling, holding her daughter, purple balloons in the background. Carol asks how she died. Moore hesitates, then tells her, blunt force trauma. She was killed. Her body was disposed of in the drainage system. She didn't run away. She didn't abandon Alia. Someone murdered her. Carol nods slowly. She's known this for 23 years. Everyone told her she was wrong, that she needed to accept that Brianna left, that she was holding on to false hope. But a mother knows. Carol always knew. Moore tells her about Vincent Caldwell, the stalking, the other victims, the evidence found in Tennessee. He explains that Caldwell is dead, so there will be no trial. But the case is solved. Brianna's death is officially classified as homicide. Carol asks about the other women. Moore confirms there were others, at least 2, possibly more. Carol asks if their families know. Moore says yes, they're being notified. That night, Carol calls Aaliyah. Aaliyah is 26 now. She works as a teacher. She has a boyfriend. She's building a life. But she's always lived with the shadow of her mother's disappearance. Carol tells her the news. Aaliyah breaks down. She's crying, screaming, unable to process. Carol just listens, lets her grieve. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation opens a formal investigation into Vincent Caldwell's activities between 1998 and 2003. They identify 6 additional missing persons cases that fit his pattern. Young black women, night shift workers, last seen in parking lots. None of the cases were ever connected, because they occurred in different jurisdictions across Georgia and Tennessee. 3 of those cases involved women whose remains were never found. Moore believes they might be in other drainage systems, other hidden locations that Caldwell knew about from his work as a security contractor. He requests that public works departments in multiple cities conduct full inspections of drainage lines near medical facilities where Caldwell had worked. It's a massive undertaking. It takes months. But in January 2025, a second body is discovered in a drainage culvert near a hospital in Macon, Georgia. The remains are identified as Angela Morris, missing since 2000. Her family finally gets answers, 18 years too late, but answers nonetheless. Carol Washington fights for Brianna's remains to be released for burial. The medical examiner completes the autopsy. Official cause of death, blunt force trauma to the skull, consistent with being struck by a heavy object. Manner of death, homicide. The body is released in early October 2024. Carol arranges a funeral. It's held at New Hope Baptist Church, where Brianna was baptized as a child. The church is packed. Brianna's former co-workers attend, neighbors who remembered her. Members of the support groups Carol joined over the years. People who never met Brianna but followed her story. Aaliyah speaks. She stands at the podium, shaking, reading from a prepared statement. She talks about growing up without her mother, about the emptiness, about the questions that haunted her. She says she used to imagine her mother was alive somewhere, happy, living a different life. But now she knows the truth. Her mother didn't leave. Her mother was taken, and her mother fought. The medical examiner found defensive wounds on Brianna's hands. She didn't go quietly. The service ends with a burial at Oakland Cemetery. Brianna's headstone reads, Brianna Washington, the 8th of June, 1976, the 22nd of March, 2001. Beloved daughter and mother. Lost, but never forgotten. Found because someone refused to stop looking. Carol stands at the grave long after everyone else leaves. She places a bouquet of purple flowers on the fresh dirt. She whispers to her daughter. Tells her she's sorry it took so long. Tells her she never gave up. Tells her she can rest now. The Atlanta City Council holds a hearing in November 2024 to address the failures that allowed Brianna Washington's body to remain undiscovered for 23 years. The Public Works Department is questioned. Why were complaints ignored? Why were inspections inadequate? Why was the drainage line never properly scoped despite decades of reported problems? The department's response is defensive. They cite budget limitations. They argue that the complaints were addressed according to protocol. They claim there was no way to know a body was causing the blockage without expensive excavation. Carol Washington attends the hearing. She sits in the front row. When the Public Works Director finishes his testimony, She stands. She doesn't wait to be recognized. She speaks anyway. She tells the council members that her daughter's body was a drainage problem for 23 years. A nuisance, an inconvenience. While the city argued about budgets and protocols, Brianna was decomposing in a pipe 32 feet underground. While residents complained about puddles and smells, Brianna was evidence that no one bothered to find. She tells them this isn't just about one woman. It's about how certain lives are valued, how certain deaths are investigated, how certain families are believed. She says if Brianna had been a white woman from a wealthy neighborhood, the investigation in 2001 would have been different. The drainage complaints would have been taken seriously sooner. The council chamber is silent. Several members look uncomfortable. One councilwoman, Keisha Brooks, thanks Carol for her testimony. She promises reform. She proposes a new policy requiring full inspections of any drainage system that receives repeated complaints over multiple years. The policy passes unanimously. It's named the Brianna Washington Accountability Act. It won't bring Brianna back, but it might prevent another woman from being lost in a city's infrastructure while officials check boxes and ignore reality. Detective Moore continues investigating Vincent Caldwell's activities. He interviews Caldwell's former employers. He traces his work history. He discovers that Caldwell installed security systems at 7 different medical facilities between 1998 and 2003. All 7 facilities employed women who later went missing. Moore doesn't believe all 7 cases are connected to Caldwell, but he believes several are. He submits formal requests to reopen 4 cold cases. He provides evidence linking Caldwell to each victim. He argues that the cases were mishandled because the victims were black women whose disappearances weren't taken seriously. 2 of the cases are reopened. The other 2 remain closed due to lack of new evidence. Moore is frustrated but persistent. He tells the families he's fighting for them. He won't let their loved ones be forgotten. Carol Washington becomes an advocate. She joins a coalition of families fighting for justice in cold cases involving missing black women. She speaks at events. She lobbies legislators. She shares Brianna's story not for sympathy, but for change. She tells audiences, "My daughter didn't run away. She was murdered. And for 23 years, the system failed her, failed me, failed Aaliyah. I don't want another mother to go through this. I don't want another daughter to grow up wondering why her mother disappeared." In early 2025, Carol is invited to speak at a national conference on missing persons. She accepts. She stands on stage in front of hundreds of people. She shows a photo of Brianna. Not the photo from the missing person flyers. A different photo. One where Brianna is laughing, holding Aaliyah, wearing a purple shirt. Carol says, "This is my daughter." Her name was Brianna Washington. She loved her child. She worked hard. She had dreams. She mattered. And when she vanished, the world barely noticed. But I noticed. I never stopped noticing. And now, finally, the world knows her name. The audience applauds. Carol doesn't smile. She simply nods. This isn't about recognition. It's about truth. And truth, even when it comes 23 years late, still matters. Aaliyah visits her mother's grave every month. She brings purple flowers. She sits on the grass and talks. Tells her mother about her life. About the students she teaches. About the boyfriend who's asked her to move in with him. About the grandmother who raised her and still refuses to slow down. Aaliyah never knew her mother. She was only 3 when Brianna disappeared. Her memories are fragments. A voice, a scent, a feeling. For most of her life, she didn't know if her mother was dead or alive. Now she knows. And while the truth is painful, it's also a relief. There's no more wondering, no more imagining. She tells her mother, "Grandma never gave up. She searched for you every single day. She fought everyone who told her to move on. She was right. You didn't leave us. Someone took you, but Grandma brought you home." The Brianna Washington case receives national media attention. News outlets cover the story. Podcasts analyze the investigation. Documentary filmmakers reach out to Carol, asking for interviews. She agrees to some, declines others. She's tired, but she also understands the importance of keeping Brianna's name alive. In April 2025, a scholarship fund is established in Brianna's name. The Brianna Washington Nursing Scholarship provides financial assistance to single mothers pursuing nursing degrees. The first recipient is a 22-year-old woman from Atlanta who works overnight shifts at a hospital while raising her daughter alone. She cries when she receives the award. She says she never would have made it without this help. Carol hugs her and tells her, "My daughter would have wanted this. She wanted to be a nurse. She wanted to help people." This is her legacy. The drainage problem on Meadowbrook Drive is finally fixed. The city excavates the entire junction, removes the corroded pipes, and installs new infrastructure. The work takes 3 months. Residents complain about the noise and disruption. But when it's finished, the standing water is gone. The smell is gone. The problem that persisted for over 2 decades is resolved. A small memorial plaque is installed near the site. It doesn't mention what was found there. It simply reads, "In memory of Brianna Washington, 1976 to 2001. May truth bring peace." Carol stands in front of the plaque on a cold morning in May 2025. She's 68 years old now. She's tired. Her body aches. But she's still standing. She traces her fingers over Brianna's name engraved in bronze. She thinks about the 23 years, the searching, the rejection, the nights she lay awake wondering if she was crazy for believing her daughter hadn't run away, the people who told her to let go, the detectives who dismissed her, the system that failed. But she also thinks about the morning. A city maintenance crew made a discovery that changed everything. The detective who finally believed her. The forensic team that brought Brianna home. The truth that emerged from a drainage pipe where her daughter should never have been. Carol whispers, "I told them. I told everyone. You didn't leave. And now they know. Now everyone knows." She places a single purple flower at the base of the plaque. Then she walks away. Not because she's moving on, but because the fight is over. Brianna has been found. The truth has been told. And that, after 23 years, is enough. Brianna Washington was lost in a drainage pipe for 23 years, while a city complained about standing water and did nothing. But she's not lost anymore. She's remembered, and her mother made sure of that.